Hi everyone. Today we will study about one more type of algorithm in the series of lecture that I am making about the operating system. The first video that I made was on the FCFS, the first come first serve algorithm, and today we will make the video on SJF, shortest job first algorithm. This algorithm is available in both the modes, that is primitive and non-primitive. Today we will discuss about the non-primitive shortest job first algorithm. The criteria for this algorithm is the burst time. Based on the process burst time, the minimum burst time the available process is having, we will solve the question. So let's start. For solving this question, first of all we have to make the Gantt chart, and as I have told you that the Gantt chart will always start from the time interval 0. So at the time interval 0, we will check how many processes have arrived onto the CPU. Just only one process have arrived. As it is the non-primitive, so what we will do, because of non-primitive, whatever the time the process want to serve, it will serve that amount of time, that is the burst time. So process number 1, just one process arrived, this will serve the complete burst time because this is non-primitive. So another process cannot preempt it. Process number P1 runs from 0 to 6. After completing it, now at the time interval 6, how many processes have arrived? All the processes have arrived. 1, process number 2, process number 3, process number 4, process number 5. Now, after this, we will check which one is having the minimum burst time in these, because at the first instance, only one process has arrived. There was no need to check. But now at the second instance, at the time interval 6, we will check how many processes have arrived. All processes have arrived. Now we will check that which one is having the minimum burst time. P4 process is having the minimum burst time 1. It will be given the priority and it will run. So this process has completed. This process has completed. Now next we will check which one is having the minimum burst time. Now we don't need to check how many processes have arrived because all the processes have arrived onto the CPU for being scheduled. Next P3 is having the minimum burst time, that is 3 units of time it wants. So 7 to 10 P3 will run. This is P3. 7 plus 3, that is 7, the current time onto the CPU shown by the Gantt chart, and 3 the time it want to serve. So 7 plus 3, 10 units of time. This process is also completed. Next, which process is having the minimum burst time? P2 is having the minimum burst time. P2 will run from 10 to 10 plus 4, 14. P2 is also completed. Next, which process is having the minimum burst time? Only one process is left, that is definitely having the minimum among all. P5. So 14 plus 5, 19. Now, as I told you, for computing the completion time, we'll check from the back so that we are not doing any mistake. P5 has completed at 19 unit of time. In the P5, we'll mention the completion time as 19. P2 has completed at 14 unit of time. In the P2, we'll mention completion time as 14. P3 has completed at 10 units of time. In the P3, we'll mention 10. P4 has completed at 7 units of time. At the P4, we'll mention 7. P1 has completed at 6 unit of time. At the P1 we will mention 6. Now what is the why we are having different criteria or different scheduling algorithms in the CPU scheduling? Because we have to minimize the average turnaround time and average waiting time. So as we are making the smaller burst time processes to run first, so this will help us a bit, not completely a bit. Why not completely? Because this is a non-primitive mode. Another process which is having the minimum burst time cannot be scheduled onto the CPU until the current one is completed, even if it has arrived onto the CPU. Okay, now we will check further. How we will check it? For calculating the turnaround time, the formula is completion time minus arrival time. So completion time for P1 minus arrival time for P1. 6 minus 0, 6. 14 minus 3, 13. 10 minus 2, 8. 7 minus 3, 4. 19 minus 4, 50. So this is how we completed the turnaround time. Now for computing the waiting time, the formula is turnaround time minus burst time. So process P1, turnaround time of P1 minus burst time of P1, that is 0. 6 minus 6. 13 minus 4, 9. 8 minus 3, 5. 4 minus 1, 3. 15 minus 5, 10. We will compute the total. We will divide by the total number of processes. So we will get the average turnaround time and average waiting time. Try it on your own. Then I'll say, guys, I hope till now you must have solved the question. We will do the summation of all the turnaround time. We'll get 46 as the answer. We'll do the summation of all the waiting time. We'll get 27 as the answer. To calculate the average turnaround time, what we need to do is we have to divide 46 by the total number of processes, that is 5. And similarly, to calculate the average waiting time, what we need to do is we need to divide 27 by total number of processes, that is 5. So we will get the answer as 9.2 and 5.2. Whatever units would be given in the question, you can put on those units, and the answer would be given in one of the options, or you will be able to solve the answer. Okay. This was one of the simple questions of the SGF that we have seen. We have to see more complicated questions, because there can be any number of questions with any number of ordering, any number of sequencing possible. So we will see one more question, then we will move towards another example of SGF primitive, which is also known as SRTF. So guys, please do like and subscribe.